On the afternoon of January 30th, an explosive eruption unexpectedly occurred at a volcano which, out of all places, was located in the nation of Azerbaijan. This did not occur at one of the nation's two active volcanoes, as the last eruption these produced occurred approximately 2,800 years ago. Instead, I am specifically referring to one of the nation's many mud volcanoes, specifically known as Azerbaijan. At 4:53 p.m. local time, it produced an enormous explosion easily visible for many miles around, creating a fireball that rose 1,000 feet or 305 meters into the sky. After the initial explosion subsided, towering and continuous flames shot out of the same spot, occurring alongside an outpouring of fluid mud. Every second for the subsequent few minutes, an average of 265.7 cubic meters of mud was expelled. Then, about 13 minutes later, the fiery eruption of the Azerbaijan Mud Volcano ended. In total, an area equivalent in size to 34.14 acres, 138,171 square meters, or about 26 American football fields, was covered in a layer of mud which averaged an estimated 1.5 meters or 4.9 feet thick. While this event was spectacular, it thankfully did not harm anyone, occurring in a remote location away from infrastructure and people. And while explosive eruptions of mud volcanoes are fairly infrequent, with by my estimates an average of 2 such similar magnitude events occurring worldwide each year, they are not completely unexpected in Azerbaijan. Why? Well, take the name of this country. Azer means fire, and the nation even has the motto the Land of Fire, with this being named after these features and the ever-present burning natural gas fires. While mud volcanoes can be associated with actual volcanoes such as at the Salton Buttes volcano in California, where carbon dioxide propels mud upwards due to deep underlying magma, they can also form in non-volcanic environments due to the at-depth presence of natural gas. In other words, all that is needed for this type of mud volcano to form is a layer of loose sediment, groundwater, and abundant pressurized gas underground. And since Azerbaijan, especially its eastern half, contains abundant natural gas reserves in tertiary-age sedimentary rocks, the nation as a whole contains at least half of all the planet's mud volcanoes. Some of these have grown to become truly massive, measuring more than 3 kilometers wide and 1,000 feet tall, indicating a high rate of supply, a long lifespan, or a combination thereof. Geologically recent fold and thrust type formations allowed for regional faults to form, creating gaps in the caprock where natural gas is, largely methane, giving it a pathway to the surface. This natural gas was trapped within sedimentary rock before some of it was captured by groundwater as the water eroded surrounding natural gas-bearing rock units. But as the groundwater eventually rose, the gas would come out of solution, propelling it upwards. Sometimes a very large batch of gas would rise all at once, sometimes due to fault movements or other reasons, resulting in large mud volcano eruptions on the surface, which could place between 100,000 and 1 million cubic meters of mud in only a few minutes. This is potentially what caused such a large eruption to occur on January 30th of 2026, and since the methane it contained is lighter than air, it quickly rose. All that was needed for the methane to ignite was for an electric shock to be generated, equivalent or larger to one that would occur after rubbing your feet over a carpet and then touching a doorknob in winter. In this case, the static electricity was generated by either the motion of millions of tiny particles of mud or due to larger rocks banging against each other in the upward mud plume that eventually generated a spark. Thus, the natural gas in it ignited, creating a large fireball. Azerbaijan appears to exist on a series of possible thrust faults which seemingly form a series of surface scarps, although I could be wrong here. This very mud volcano has erupted multiple times in the last century, as you can see via the multiple colorations of mud west of its summit that indicate differing ages. Azerbaijan itself seems to have such large fireballs originate from mud volcanoes about once every 8 months, with the last such example occurring in the country on October 11, 2025 at the Atman Bozdab mud volcano. Sometimes these eruptions, which I must remind everyone are not true volcanoes due to the lack of involvement of any magma, can occur via multiple bursts of activity in a fairly brief time span. So, it is best not to immediately approach a mud volcano that literally just underwent an explosive fireball-producing event in case a second phase is about to occur. In the case of Desmurden, there was thankfully only one phase of activity. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube for supporting my work.